When was the last time you eat some spicy and nice curry goat? Well guys, crave no more, because in today's video you'll learn how easy it is to master this delicious Jamaican recipe. My peeps, I'm gonna show you step by step how to wash, season and to cook curry goat that's juicy, tender and flavorful, stewed down in a thick, rich finger-licking gravy. This recipe is so good, you need to watch it to the end. You'll see all the tips and tricks you've always wanted to know, so you'll get the best tasting curry goat guaranteed. Hey guys, it's Roxy Chow down and welcome to my kitchen. Thank you so much for stopping by. So let's jump right into today's video. We'll begin by washing our goat stew in some vinegar and water. So for those of you watching who are not from the Caribbean, please don't be alarmed by this step. Washing meat may seem a bit strange, and that's quite okay. You can skip this step. But in Jamaica, where I grew up, we are taught to wash our meat with vinegar or lime to purify it. I also find that washing removes unwanted debris from my food, so I stick to what works for me. So you'll see here that my washing technique is simply rubbing the meat and rinsing it at least twice. Then I drain my bowl and clean my sink with soap or bleach to avoid any contamination from the raw meat. So now it's time to season our meat. I'll show you how I layer my goat stew with delicious herbs and spices to pull it up enough flavor. First, we'll add all our powdered seasoning like salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika. To get the full list of these ingredients, simply go to the description box below and click on the link provided. Next, we're gonna layer on our fresh seasoning such as pimento, onions, ginger, bell pepper, thyme, Scotch bonnet pepper, and garlic. But let's pause here a second, guys. I must point out that the best and safest way to cut up your meat and seasonings is to use a cutting board, especially if you're new to the kitchen. Guys, even though I'm cutting my seasonings in hand, it's risky. So please practice safe knife skills every time. If you're new to the kitchen and would like a quick demo on how to use a cutting board to prep your seasonings, keep watching. I'll show you how. So here is how I use my cutting board to chop up my garlic. You can follow this technique with all your other fresh seasoning. So now we'll add the curry powder and then mix all our seasoning thoroughly into the meat. Guys, here are a few of my special tips to help you when you're cooking any curry dish. Always use a large glass, metal or ceramic bowl to season your meat and avoid using plastic. This makes cleanup easier as curry tends to stick to and stain plastic containers. And another thing, you'll see that I'm using a wooden spoon instead of gloved hands, and this is a seasoning technique I recommend. However, if you're more comfortable using your hands to season your meat, that's quite fine. But please try to avoid using plastic gloves to help save the environment. Protect your hands while seasoning your curry by using a large fork or spoon. I've used this technique for years and it works extremely well for me, so give it a try. Okay guys, you really don't want to miss this step. This is a secret cooking technique that will take your curry goat from good to great. So here's my favorite cooking tip. I always layer my fresh seasoning when cooking. One way is to make 2 batches of seasoning and apply one to your meat before cooking. You then apply the other batch near the end. If you prefer, you can chop all the seasoning at once in one bowl and divide it in halves. Then use one half to season and set the other aside until it's time to make the gravy. I'll be adding some diced yellow potatoes to my recipe because that's a traditional way of preparing Jamaican curry goat. However, if you're unable to get this ingredient or simply don't fancy it, then it's quite okay to leave it out. I love to add potatoes to my curry goat because it makes my curry goat hearty and flavorful, and it also helps to thicken the gravy. So I'm gonna go ahead and dice my potato and set it aside till it's time to make my curry goat gravy. The Jamaican way of cooking this dish is to have firm pieces of potatoes mixed with the goat stew. Just in case you didn't know, adding the potatoes to the pot too early gives you a very thick gravy with little or no potatoes to bite into. If you'd like to make your curry goat the traditional Jamaican way, keep watching to see how I get my curry goat just right. Guys, it's cooking time and we'll start with what Jamaicans call burning the curry. This technique is commonly used when preparing curry dishes. It's simply cooking a bit of curry powder in oil on medium heat for about 30 seconds while stirring. But guys, let me point out one important thing. You don't actually want the curry powder to burn because that will spoil the taste of your dish. Instead, you want to lightly cook the curry powder just enough to release its flavor and color before adding your meat. So now it's time to add our goat stew. Gently spoon the seasoned meat into your pot, and guys, please don't follow me and dash it in. Then give the meat a good stir. Cover your pot and cook for about 3 minutes. Next, we'll add enough water to cover the meat and cook on high for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Remember to keep a close eye on your pot to ensure that the water does not dry out. You will need to add more water to your pot at least 2 more times during cooking until the meat gets soft and tender. My peeps, if you're loving this curry goat recipe so far, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. After 2.5 hours, taste a small piece of your meat. If it's soft and easily chewed, then it's time to add the final layer of seasoning that was set aside earlier. Here I'm adding the chopped onions, garlic, thyme, tomatoes, sweet pepper, scallions, and diced potatoes. You may also add a little bit more salt at this point if needed. Guys, our spicy and nice Jamaican curry goat is almost done. Simply cover your pot and let all your seasonings and potatoes cook for another 15 minutes. Then uncover the pot to let the gravy simmer down for about 5 minutes more. So here's my final super cooking tip, guys. Remember, constantly stir your curry goat throughout the cooking process to prevent your meat and seasonings from sticking to the bottom of your pot. So my peeps, now that I've shown you step by step how to prepare this finger-licking Jamaican dish, I'm sure you're ready to get in the kitchen, throw down and chow down some spicy and a nice curry goat. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so, and also go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Enough love and blessings, and see you in my next video.